6 AM on race day 1 of the Brands Hatch round of BSB, my favourite round on the calendar, not least because it's the closest to my house here in London. I've done what any respecting motorcycle journalist will do, and I've borrowed a Fireblade SP, and I thought I'd take you on the journey that I've made countless times between my house and my favourite racetrack in the country. Welcome to Beyond the Blade, episode 3. So Brands Hatch is now back to being allowed a full capacity crowd-wise for 2 years. I think it was 2019 was the last time. I'm at my favourite spot on the inside of Druids. I'll take you over there and explain why in a minute, but we've come out to get a feel for the racing through the eyes of the crowd, and then we'll speak to a couple of the guys in the team and see what the crowd does for them. Does it lift their spirits? Does it add to their nerves? Who knows? We'll put those questions to them and get their thoughts. So for me, as close to the barriers as you can get on the inside of Druids is what it's all about. You can see them coming down the start-finish straight, down Paddock Hill, banging on the brakes under the bridge on their way into Druids. And then I do this weird spinning around on the spot thing, picking up the knee slider sound if you can get it, and then watching them fire out of Druids and on their way around. So yeah, I've been doing that weird spinny round thing on this spot since I was a teenager, and it never gets old.
Got a bit of muck on your lens. That's better.
So we're just picking up where I left off, talking to Druids about how close I can get to Tom in his race, and when I'm cheering for him, I'm wondering if you can hear any of that.
Seeing the crowd, seeing like the bank's full, it's an awesome feeling, especially if you pull a result out of the bag. Yeah. Everyone's watching you. It just adds to that electric feel, that atmosphere. That's what we come racing for. It's just part of the show. And when you're in the race, you're focusing on your race anyway, but it's more so like when you've had a result and you cross the line and everyone's there and everyone's waving and clapping and stuff. Yeah, it's just such a buzz, it is.
The thing is, that's the norm, isn't it, to have all the crowds? It's not the norm to have 0 spectators at a motorcycle or car event or anything. So last year it did feel very, very alien for everybody, for the riders, for the team and everything. I wouldn't say it's more pressure. It is uplifting for sure. You know, it's great to see people here, and it's great to see people and fans enjoying and following what they love. You know, we need that. We need that for the sport. All the sports need that. You know, without the fans and the followers and everything else, we wouldn't have what we have here today.
You're here? Yeah. Oh no, need to be here. Like, I think maybe from here to here is the area. Like, if you're here, you can be on the throttle more strong and more pick up, because more room. When I hit the brake, I don't stay, I just go. And then...
So part of my brief this season was to take you guys behind the scenes, and one of the things I want to talk about in this episode is the timing screens. If, like me, you're a fan of analysing on-screen data at home from the comfort of your own sofa, where you see sector times and top speeds and lap times, I'm certainly not going to try and pretend I know enough to break down the extra data that these timing screens give. So let's catch up with Paul, Rio's crew chief, and let him tell you all about them.
Yeah, it's another source of valuable data. We've not only got the data from the bike that we extract after every session, we've also got the data from the timing screens that TSL provides for each circuit. Each circuit is broken down into sectors. So Knock Hill, we've got 3 sectors. So start, finish to just after turn 3, and then just after turn 3 to in between turn 8 and turn 9, and then after turn 8, hairpin back to start finish. And those 3 sectors are broken down then into times. Constantly see every lap, and the live, as soon as it goes through that sector, his sector time will pop up, and you'll know if it's better, worse, or on par. with the best. So you get a prediction of what time's going to be before he's even completed the lap. We're glued to it, we look at it constantly, we make a change to the bike, send him out. If he's improving in a sector where he was struggling before, we can see that the change has improved the situation. In the race, always looking at it, seeing if they're gaining on the guy in front or if the guy behind is catching in a certain sector. You know, we can always tell the rider then by the pit board if they need to improve in a certain sector as well. So yeah, there's a bit of a colour code going on. A yellow time is the standard time. If time appears in green, it means it's that rider's personal best for that session. If it's purple, it means it's the best sector time or best lap time for that session from any rider. Any information that the race controller is trying to provide teams, riders, it all gets provided on the bottom of the screen. Up to date delays or even rain in the sectors. Now we have a sector flag or rain flag in each sector. That will also get displayed on the timing screen, so we know what's going on as much as the riders. As well as information page or the sector page, we have atmospheric conditions. We have humidity, air temp, track temp, which is obviously crucial for setup. We rely on good track temp information to get the tyre pressures right and tyres working right, so that's always an important page. Barometric pressure, we have to obviously adjust fueling for that. And daily rainfall, wind direction and wind speed. So it's all useful information. Yeah, the wind speed or wind direction might affect your gearing, and humidity might indicate a bit of rain coming. Yeah, well, most people are watching the race footage on the actual video screen. Like the chief mechanics, the engineers, we're always watching the timing screens. And we get all our information from there, and we kind of find it more up to date and more useful than the actual pictures.
Sunday race day, there's definitely way more people than were here yesterday, and we were already celebrating the fact that we're allowed to be back to capacity. The weather is a little bit better, fans are smiling a little bit more, and I've snuck up here to show you guys where to come and not only buy official Honda merch. The stand is at every round this season, but this is also where the riders come when they want to hide from people in hospitality and people in the back of the garages. So if you're looking for a tip and you want to meet any of the guys from the team, come up here and have a look. So we're a minute away from the start of race 1 in the Superbike class. Glenn's qualified 9th. Naysayers might think that's rubbish, but there's less than a second between 1st and 10th. This race is going to be really tight for a number of reasons. I think it's about to rain. I don't envy those guys on that grid at all going out in these conditions. I'm more than happy to put my hands on this fence and be entertained.
And then a massive blow up for Bill Face to
This is what drama looks like. Glenn was running in 4th, closing on 3rd with wet front and an intermediate rear. Christian Idden's running full slicks. All the drama of the race was unfolding on its own. Then one of the Suzukis burst into flames. They red flagged the race. It wasn't at 2/3 race distance, so they're allowed to change the tyres and there'll be a restart. My heart is pounding and I don't even have a job to do. I don't know how Glenn feels at the minute. These boys, I'll spin round, have a look. Absolutely flat out down there.
Loving the job, loving the job. Haven't got a tyre left. Use them all in one go.
Everybody goes on to full slicks. The track is dry. It's a 7-lap dash.
I think today we overachieved, and when I say that, I mean it in a positive way. When you come and you're having difficulties, to be fair, giving the team credit, we've used the SCX on 2 race weekends. One is Knockhill. It's a very nudgery track and you don't learn a whole lot on a setup that you can carry everywhere else. So it's really our first unique British circuit that we've ran the SCX with, and we've seen how much chatter we have compared to what we had last year. So that's something that we need to fix. But bit like I say, to come away with an 8.6 today is a real bonus, and it's nice when the crowd are here and you've had I want to win races, of course, but it's nice driving by them at the end when you're happy with the result because you wave at them. I think I pulled about 14 wheelies on the in-lap and did a nice one with Hickey down the back straight. When you're not happy, I don't even think you lift your head up from the bubble.
So from the ups and downs and ins and outs of the 2.4 miles at Brands Hatch in Kent to this, Thruxton in Hampshire, 2.3 miles, so about the same length, but the polar opposite in terms of track design and layout. This is the fastest circuit on the calendar, one that comes with its own unique set of challenges. Realistically, the fast-flowing nature of this track should suit the Fireblade down to the ground. However, there's no benchmark data from last year, and tyres, the constant question when it comes to Thruxton. We're going to be spending some time with the guys from Pirelli, as well as the riders in both Superstock and Superbike classes, and also the team's own tyre technicians, in a bid to try and understand how to make a tyre work well for one lap in qualifying, but more importantly, over an entire race distance. So I'm here with Carl Young, the tyre technician for the team, otherwise known as Carlos. It's his responsibility to keep all this magic going on in the background. Where do we start with you? What about allocation? You know, how many tyres do you get to play with all weekend?
Well, we get a dry allocation of 8 rears and 8 front tyres.
Yep.
Wets and intermediates don't come into that, so if we're using wets or inters, that doesn't affect our allocation. So
this circuit in particular is the tyre killer, isn't it? Thruxton's always been known as the one that's the hardest to manage. And we've been talking about these two tyres here, which are obviously the same thing. Yep. One's never been used, one has clearly been used quite a lot. There's two things I think that are fascinating. One is the weight. You've got the unused weight of this one.
That's about 7 kilos, 7.1 kilos for that tyre.
Yeah.
This tyre's just finished the race, and that weighs 6.4 kilos now, so we've just done 15 laps.
So in 15 laps it's lost 0.6 of a kilo.
Yeah, tomorrow's race, that tyre will be a kilo of rubber lighter than when we started.
That sounds like a lot to me. Yeah, and also I don't know if you can see it, maybe we'll shoot a separate angle of these tyres, but bearing in mind they are identical, but to me it looks like the crown has shifted from centre to...
Slightly that way.
Yeah. I'd say more than slightly, you can definitely see it. It's quite pronounced,
there's a lot of wear here, that's gone. That's your 0.6 of a kilo of rubber that's disappeared off that side.
So Carlos, aside from the tyres, as if by magic, like we've laid it out to talk about it, one of the boys has got a wheel here, but there's looks like something off a Formula 1 car. What's going on? What is that?
Well, it's McLaren's technology. We purchased it. That allows me to work out what the temperatures of the tyres are all day long.
Yep.
Pressures and everything like that, and then it allows me to set my tyre warmers over there to the optimum, so we get the best temperature for when we start the race.
So this is a wireless TPMS.
Yeah, that's right. That goes from there to a computer screen over here, and I'm sitting on that most of the day.
Yeah.
Cooking tyres basically.
Yeah.
So this is the screen I was telling you about. I've got all the wheels that are in the racks behind us there, so I can just pick up any wheel we're looking at. So we'll just take this front wheel of Glen's here, front wheel 38, there's the tyre sensor. So if I want that for the race or whatever, just to keep an eye on that, I'll just drag it over to this side of the screen on there, and then I can see what the temperature is, the tyre pressure, and it's just telling me which the wheel is there.
Right, Carlos, like I say, you are genuinely one of the busier guys that I've seen in this garage, so I'm going to get out of your way. Thanks for your time. I'm off to find out what Tom thinks about just how good you are at your job.
That's all right, thanks very much.
Cheers.
Your rider's having a leak over there, he's doing it on the timing equipment.
Oh, is he? He's
Yes.
naughty, right.
Yeah,
I'll
well,
tell
I've
him
just
now.
had a message from race control and I wasn't going to go and tell him. You can tell him.
Apparently, Tom, you're weeing on the
That was all
timing
over
equipment.
the timing equipment.
Yeah. They put the camera on you and everything there. So you're on quest.
Lovely.
Having a wee.
Good, I hope I am.
So Tom, over race distance, how hard is it to manage a tyre at the fastest, kind of hardest circuit on the calendar?
My life's pretty easy really, because in Superstock we only have an SC2 rear tyre, so we don't have a choice of softer options or harder options. We get what we're given, everyone's on the same. So it's relatively predictable how the drop's going to be, but I mean it does destroy tyres around here.
So when you say the drop, can that be one lap the tyre is doing a completely different thing the next lap when you're doing everything exactly the same?
Well, I'd say, I mean, in qualifying around here, you really only have 2 laps on the tyre, and then you've absolutely had the best of it. After that, it's just a case of trying to catch a spin, not let it drift too much, just trying to keep driving forward and keep the traction, and it's a big task to do around here.
I'm seeing blue smoke on the screen, so what are you seeing off the guy in front? Is it
I'm seeing a blue smoke, and I'm smelling it as well. It's, I mean, it's so exciting to ride. I love it. It's the only track where you really get to go flat out on a 1000 bike and just let it have it and spin the rear and just hold on, and it's so much fun to ride. But it's a tricky one in the races. You are trying to manage the tyre a little bit, so I mean, if you went balls out for the first 6 laps, you wouldn't have anything at the end, and the guys would come back to you.
Well, you certainly got it. I think the result that you had today on the podium, bit of a monkey off your back.
Finally, I'm so relieved. It's been such a tricky time, and it's been no coincidence that when I've struggled, Glenn's struggled on the Superbike, and then when I've had a result here, it's also been a strong track for him. So,
and we're about to roll into a load of circuits that suit you, Glenn, and Fireblade.
Exactly. Yeah, we're really starting to understand the strengths of the bike now, and certainly like the tracks we've got coming with Silverstone, Cadwell, Donington, Snetterton, we've all won and had results at. So I think we can really start to see like an upward trend in our championship hopes now, and once you get a bit of momentum behind you, a couple of results, it makes so much difference in racing. It's all in your head at the end of the day, isn't it, a lot of it. So
nicely done. Onwards to Donington.
Let's go.
So this is the main man in the British Superbike paddock when it comes to tyres. Jason Griffiths, just give us an idea. I know in chatting to Carlos, the team tyre guy, about this earlier, his allocation is 8 slicks per rider. So how many riders are you thinking of? What does your spreadsheet look like? I think what I'm trying to say is how many tyres do you turn up with on a Thursday?
Yeah, here at Thruxton we've got over 3,000 tyres with us, so yeah, it's a lot of tyres, but obviously, you know, we need to cater for all the likely conditions, and through Friday we saw just about everything, you know. We've got for stock 1000 and for Superbike, there's 2 choices of rear rain tyre. Both of those we used. There's an intermediate which we also saw some use of, and the slicks we used. So it was a day on Friday when we needed everything that we brought with us, basically.
And obviously Thruxton, being as abrasive and as consistent on one side of the tyre as it is, the decision is made at this round to have no X compound.
Yeah, I mean, the X is something that was new this year for BSB, and as I say, we planned production that far in advance that we'd made the decision on the material for Thruxton in reality before the first BSB test had taken place.
Not to run it.
Yeah.
Right, Jason, I'm going to say it to you. I've said it to everyone else, probably because I don't have much to do, but you look as busy as everyone else seems to be in this paddock, so I'm going to get out of your way. Best of luck to your tyres and our team. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Sean. Good to speak to you.
Cheers.
You know, obviously yesterday was going so well. I think as the entire weekend did from Friday morning, despite the weather. The feeling with the Honda Fireblade was really good here.
This big move by Glenn Irwin, beautiful move around the outside, glances over, checks.
Obviously, big crash going for 2nd position, which, you know, it's frustrating now, but I can't change that. So
approached the climax of the race, a horrendous accident at over 130 miles an hour for Glenn Irwin.
Mate, just quickly look at this bike. Holy, look at the front wheel. Nothing a bit of duct tape and polish won't sort out, you know.
we could dwell on the negative, but it was much more positive to focus on today, and you know, I feel we achieved that with you know, a podium position.
And as they come storming round into the countryside, it's all to play for. 4 riders looking at the potential rostering finish. Glenn Irwin responds, moves through again.
The last race today was a bit of a lottery. I should have been stronger on the intermediate tyre in wetter conditions at the beginning, because when it rained at the end I actually was strong, but it just took me a bit to find some confidence, which hopefully we can take to other circuits. But all in all, yeah, it's been good. You know, we're 7 points off the showdown, and it's not like we're chasing one spot. You know, I think Hickey, Skinner, Jackson, they're all you know, potentially doable. So we go into a run of tracks that are all favourable for the Honda right up till the cut-off for the showdown. So of course that gives me a lot of satisfaction.
There's